Okay, so we begin in our week 3, module number 3. And we'll continue with the house modeling exercise. So open your exercise number 3 file. But before you start adding elements here, save this as exercise number 4, as this will be the file that you need to submit. The file format will be is the same, just change the number to exercise number 4 from exercise number 3. Okay, so we start with the lights. We'll add some lights in our on our ceiling. So basically, we will be adding 3 or 4 types of lights. But for this particular item, I would let you explore, and I will let you try out other lights. You don't need to follow exactly how the lights that I will be using for my model. You can try out other lights that you want. All right. So all the lights, all the ceiling lights, if any basically any item that is specific to the ceiling should be done on the ceiling plan. So since most of our lights are placed on the ceiling, we activate our ceiling plan. So let's start with the GFFFL ceiling plan. So I'm on the ceiling plan group. Double click this. So basically, I'm looking up. We're looking at up the house, so we can see the ceiling here. And we ceiling lights are components or families in Revit. And currently, there are no lights that are loaded in this file, so we have to load some light families here. So there are several ways of loading a family in Revit. So not only a light family, but families in general. One way is by activating its command or its tool in Revit. So since we will be adding lights, you use the component tool to add them. Let's activate component. So shortcut key for place a component is CM. And then if you want to load, so let's check. If you go to the type selector here, there are no lights that are currently loaded here. These are the only families that are loaded in this file. So we have plants, trees, tables, and some of this. So if you want to load a new family or a new component, activate place component and then click the load family button here. Okay, so that's one way. Now, some families or some categories, specific categories, can't be loaded using the component tool right here. So one particular category is a door. Another one is a window category. So if you want to load a new door family, you need to activate the door command. And this is where you need to place or click the load family. If you were to try to load a door family while the component command is active, so let's say if I type CM to activate components, and I'll try to load a door family inside the component. Let me go up. Let's go to my doors. Okay. Revit won't allow you to do this because you need to do it on its in its own command. Okay, so if you wanted to some families should be loaded inside their specific command. So windows, doors, if you want to load a window family, you need to do it inside the window command. Okay, so activate the window command, click load families, and this is where you will be able to load a window family. There's another way of inserting families in Revit. This is actually the better way. If you have specific categories for specific families, you can do it this way. Go to the Insert tab and click the Load Family here. So the difference, if you do it this way, you can load any category, any family in any category, and Revit will allow you to do it. So basically, you can load any type of families in here, whether it's doors, whether it's windows, a component or specific light. So you can all types of families can be loaded through this method right here. Okay, so um, you can load your lights family in here, or you can load it by activating the component tool. So either way, both are will work. Okay, so let's activate the component command once again, and I'll click load family here. So I'll load my lights family through this method. Okay, so make sure you are inside the metric library folder. So again, in my computer, I have both the Imperial. Imperial is English units, and I also have the metric library. So make sure you have the metric library. So all of our models will be taken from the metric library. So since we will be loading some lights, go to the lighting folder, open the architectural folder, open the internal folder, and then let's choose the lights that we want to use. So the preview window here don't really show a good preview of the model. So the only way to see the exact look of the model is by trying them out in your model. So, but what I will use for my model is the recessed scan. So this is a pin light, recessed lighting. I'll hold the control key to add to the selection. So I'll click the round LED. So this is a general lighting, usually placed at the center of the room. So I'll place this in my bedroom. And maybe one pendant light for the living room and the dining room. Maybe this one. I'll use this one. Pendant light disc. And one more sconce lamp is a wall lamp. So I'll try the uplight, sconce light uplight. Okay. So feel free to try other lights as well. You can use the lights that I've chosen here, but you can also explore other lights, and you don't have to copy me exactly what I will do for the lights here. I'll click open to load them. Okay, once you load the families, they should be a part of the list in the type selector. So if I click here, the properties, I have the pendant light right here. I have the downlight right here, recessed scan, and one more is a sconce light. Okay. If you have a long list of families or a long list of components here, you can search them by name. So if I want a recessed scan downlight, so I'll just type it here, and I'll try this smaller one, this one. Okay. Most of the lights in Revit needs a ceiling object to place it onto. So since we already have ceilings in our model, we will be able to place this light or our lights in our model. So notice that if I go out, I'll get a warning sign or a not allowed sign because we don't have any ceiling in this area. But if we did have a ceiling, we will be able to place our lights in here. So since we have ceilings inside, we will be able to add our ceiling inside. So I'll just what we do first is to eyeball the location of the pin lights or the lights in our model, and then we'll just space them out better once we have them placed. So I'll just add some here. Okay, press the escape key, and then I'll show you another way of placing them using the reference plane as our guide. So for now, let's use the dimension tool and the align tool to space them out equally and to organize their location. So I'll activate my dimension tool by typing DI. I'll dimension, let me just activate my thin lines by typing TL so that I can see the edges better. So I'll press the tab key and then I'll measure from the edge wall in the center of the light. Okay. I want this. I'll type DI once again. I want the lights to be maybe 700 is okay. So this one's good. 700 away from the wall edge. And then I'll use my align tool to align all these lights to this light. So I'll type AL, click this center of the light, click this edge. Again, continue do the same to the other lights. So click this light, the center, and then this light. I'll do the same here. Center and this light, center and this light, center and this light. Okay, and then I'll go around. I'll measure this light. This should be 700. This one's okay. So AL to align this and this here and here. I'll measure this again. I want this to be 700 from the edge, wall edge. So I'll change it to 700 and then align AL, click and then click. We have this light and this light, and I'll use this light. I'll measure this 700 from the wall edge, 700, and this one should be 700. Align again AL, and this, and that. Right. And then to distribute the spacing, I'll add some more dimensions. So I'll type DI and dimension all of these, this group of lights. I'll click EQ. Okay, do the same on each of the sides. Okay, this I'll type a click EQ. This one also, this side, so EQ, and this side EQ, and this side EQ, this side as well EQ. All right. So once you have the lights connected to a dimension, if you, let me try it here. If you decide to change the spacing between the wall edge and the light end or the end light, this will automatically they will automatically space evenly. So let's say if we change this to 1 meter, they will remain equally spaced from one another. So let's change this back to 700. Okay, once you've done this, you can delete the dimensions. Let's delete some of them because it's getting cluttered in our view. So let's delete this. If you delete a dimension that was set to equal or EQ, you will get this warning sign. It will ask you if you want to unconstrain or if you want to press OK. If you press OK, all these lights will remain equally spaced, even if you try to change this the spacing of the light from the wall edge. So if I nudge it using my up arrow key, they will remain equally spaced, right? Let me just undo that and let's save this. Okay, so that warning window usually appears every 15 minutes. So if you again, make sure to save your files once in a while. Okay, let me undo that. Okay, that's it. If you delete it, if you delete the equal dimension once again, and if you click on constraint, they will associate from one another. So if you try to move this, so notice that this light has an EQ symbol here. It means that it is still connected with the other lights, while it has its this light is not, it's disconnected from the two other lights on this side. So if you I try to move it left and right, let's try to do this here. So if I nudge it left and right, it won't affect the other lights, so it won't automatically distribute the spacing between them. Okay, so most of the time I don't really need to if I delete it, most of the time I just click on constraint. I don't need it to be associated to the other lights anymore, so I'll just unconstrain this one. Okay, delete this. Okay, and then let's add a few more lights, maybe a pendant light here and here. On my ground floor, uh, on this area will be the stairs, right? If you want to see the elements in the floor plan, you can activate the underlay. So I want to see where my stairs are specifically are located. So I'll go to my underlay. I'll change the range, changes to GFFFL, but the underlay orientation, I'll set this to look down. I'll see here that I have stairs here on this area. The doors are here, right? So my kitchen is somewhere here. Probably I'll delete this lights here, and I'll move this two lights, or maybe just one. Move this, so I'll type MV to move this. I'll place this in my kitchen, add this to my kitchen, and then I'll type CM. I'll place the same light somewhere here, and I'll just use the align tool, AL, to align this to this, this to this, and I'll align this to pin lights, right? And maybe okay, maybe I'll just make this 3 equally spaced, EQ, delete, and I'll align this here, and I'll just move this piece here. Okay, so let's add a new set of lights. So I'll type CM. Maybe I'll use a pendant light. Okay, when we do our camera views and perspective views in a later video or later lesson, you'll see how this looks in 3D. So in the meantime, just add some lights, and then you can adjust them later on. So I'll just add this. Okay, so these are pendant lights. I'll align this. This spin light should maybe probably best if these are both aligned, and I'll center this pendant right here in this one. So I'm using my align tool to center the pendant lights, maybe here, right? So my dining areas is somewhere here, my living room area is somewhere here. But this is just for the initial placement of the lights, and we'll see how this looks once we add the furniture. Next, let's add some more lights here. So I'll maybe use a downlight. So I'll place a downlight on my room. So notice that it's giving me this symbol. It's not allowed symbol. If I look at the settings here in my modify place a component, it's set to place on vertical face. And if I go near a vertical element like a wall, this is where it wants to place itself. So we'll change this to place on face. So it will allow you to place it on any face, vertical or horizontal. So I'll change this to place and face. So I can use the face of my ceiling as my as its work plane. So I can place it here. I'll place just one at the center. Press escape key, and then to center this, you can use your dimension tool. I'll type di. I'll measure center of the wall, center to center, EQ. Okay, center and center of the wall, and then EQ to center it in the room. And press escape, and then delete the dimensions. I'll type unconstrained, delete unconstrained, and probably add some pin lights on the corners. So I'll type CM. I'll search for recessed can. It's actually already here in the most recently used types list. So just select it here, and then notice that some lights has specific settings, some don't. So just be aware of that. So this my recess scanner, my pin light doesn't have that option. So I can place these lights directly on the ceiling, and then I'll just dimension them from the edge. Okay, so I'm pressing the tab key to transfer my selection to the edge of the wall. So it's by default it's selecting the center of the wall. And then change this to 700. This one's fine. Delete. Delete. AL to align. So I'll align this and this one. Align this. Dimension this. This should be 700. Then AL to align this and this. And dimension once again to the edge. 700. And then AL. And there. One more, probably let's add two lights here, two pin lights, and one pin light at the center. So DCM center, and then two lights here, and I'll just dimension this. So make sure this is centered on the room. So actually this is already centered. 825, 825, DI. Okay, EQ. And unconstrained, and then align using this lights, align this to the center, this and this, and you can dimension this, specify your 800 is okay for this one. Also for this one, probably let's try 800 to this as well. Okay, so ground floor is done. Let's do I think maybe let's bring back the lights in here, the two lights here. I'll just copy this. CO, yeah, we need lights above the stairs, right? AL, and then just dimension this 3 EQ and delete. All right, so ground floor is done. Let's go to the basement floor, and let's add a few lights, a few more lights here. So um since we will be doing another line of pin lights here, uh, it's probably best to add a reference plane for our guide to use as our guide. So this is another technique that you can use. I'll just activate, this is the reference plane, activate it by typing RP. So create 4 reference planes on all 4 sides of this room, and they mention it DI. This should be move this down, change this to 700 DI, move this down to the left, and 700, and this one 700, and lastly this one 700. Okay, and then let's add our pin light. So type CM. So my recess scan is currently active, and then not snapping. So sometimes it doesn't snap. So it's okay. Just look at the temporary dimension. So above and below. Okay, so let's place it outside first. Okay, I'll press escape, and I'll just use my move tool, MV, grab it at the center, and then snap it at the intersections of the two reference planes. So sometimes when you place lights, sometimes it doesn't use the snaps command or the snaps option. Press escape key, and then we will copy this instead of using the components command. We will copy this so that we can snap it exactly at the reference planes and at the intersections using the copy tool. So select the pin light or the recessed can. I'll activate the copy tool by typing CO, and I'll grab it at the center and then just eyeball it once again. Make sure it's snapped at the reference plane. So I'll type CO once again. So I forgot to check multiple. You can also check constraint so that it will be constrained to the vertical direction. Okay, so it will remain straight vertically. So I'll add maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then one more at the intersection of the two reference planes. And then to the right intersection here, and I'll just eyeball this, and then intersection of the two reference planes, and then one more at the center. Press escape. And then I don't have a ceiling in here because this is the hole for the stairs, so I don't need to add a light in here. And then DI to dimension this lights, EQ, and then I'll use my align tool, AL, align this and this, and dimension DI. I'll use this. I'll measure these lights, and then press EQ, space them out equally. Do the same for these lights. Okay, by the way, don't be careful not to dimension any of the other elements. So, for example, if you've accidentally dimensioned the grid, okay, if you type EQ, you won't be able. The grid won't move, but the spacing might not work out well. So it's including usually grids and reference planes doesn't move with uh, when you change the EQ and if you want to space out elements equally. Usually this becomes an anchor point from where they will space out. So just be careful not to um, dimension unnecessary elements. So just make sure that for this one to dimension just the lights. Okay, if it's highlighting another element, just press the tab key to highlight the correct element. Okay, and then press EQ. Okay, and then I'll just delete the dimensions once again. So just to keep the view clean. Okay. And then probably CM for the center. Let's add downlight. So it changes to place and face once again. So maybe somewhere here, and then I'll use my align tool AL to center it to the room. Okay. So once again, we'll try to we'll see if we can adjust the lights, location of the lights once we have the furniture set in a future video. But in the meantime, we'll use this lighting layout. Okay, so for this room, utility room, we probably only need one center light. And let's dimension it so that it's centered on the room. I'll use this wall center and maybe edge of this wall and edge of this wall, EQ, and then delete this. So this is a bedroom, so I'll just type CM. I'm using the same light, place on face. I'll dimension this from edge of the wall to edge of the wall. EQ, delete, and here EQ, delete, pin lights. So I'll type CM once again to activate the component, and recessed can, I'll add 4 on each of the corners here. Dimension, so DI, so this should be 700 from the corner, 700, and this one 700. Align AL, and this DI, this should be 700 AL, and here DI, it changes to 700 AL, this and this, and you can use this to align this. And some other lights here, CM, so still the same. So 1 2 3. Let's delete the other dimensions first. Delete, 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 delete. DI, okay, and then EQ, DI, center, EQ, delete, unconstrained, delete, unconstrained, then align AL, here, this, and I mentioned this. Let's set this to 800, and this maybe 700. Okay, probably this one can be 700 as well. And there, we have one more light I've added a while ago. So type CM. Let's try the sconce light. I think this one, 60 watts. You can add it at the outside of your house. So it's up to you if you want to add this. Just show you how it looks. Okay, so I have added it here, and then we're done. Let's just turn off the underlay on the ground floor. We don't need this now. Let's check the 3D view, see how it looks. So it's showing up here on top because this is a recessed light. Here's our sconce light. We can change the height if this is too high for you. Let's make it, let's change this to 1600 from the ground floor. Make it a little bit lower. And then you can check the sections, see how the lights are looking inside. Okay, so upon checking the pendant lights, they seem to be not attaching to the ceiling correctly. So probably there's something wrong with how this family was created. So let's change this to another type. Let's load another pendant light. Let's go to the load family. Let me just go up for a while. So I'm on the lighting folder. Go to the lighting folder. Let's try looking for a light under the MEP folder. Internal folder, and then look for another pendant light. Let's try M pendant light hemisphere and click open. Okay, so let's see if we can change this to, I'll select the 2 pendant lights, and let's look for this one, M pendant light hemisphere. Okay, and it's not allowed to swap. So I'll just delete this too. I'll delete this. I'll go back to the ground floor ceiling, and then type CM. So hemisphere, pendant light hemisphere is still selected. I'll click place on face, and then I'll place it here, place one here, place another one here, and then I'll just use my align tool to center this here, and this one also. Center my pendant light, and this one. Okay, and let's check the 3D. So this one's fine. Okay, and let's just adjust the section cut again. You can also check the section, this one. If I double click this, you can also check the section from here. So I can see the pendant lights, I can see the canned lights. All right. Okay, so save your work. I'll type Control S, and I'll see you in the next video.